in today's fast-paced and ever-evolving marketing landscape, even the smallest misstep can have significant consequences, from outdated strategies to tone-deaf messaging. Marketing mistakes can damage your brand's reputation, alienate your customers, and ultimately impact your bottom line. Well, joining us now to explore, ways to avoid, some of these common mistakes, we have Olajumoke Abiodun, who's the CEO, Market Edge Advisory, and we also have Roland Omoroshemi, is the Director, Market Edge Advisory, and they're both joining me right here in the studio. It's good to have you both.
Thank you so much for having us.
Good afternoon. So,
thank you.
Definitely, it's that time again where, companies have to, set up strategies because, fine, maybe last year you made good revenue, you made good profit, but in the new year, you also like to continue that or maybe outpace, make more money.
Yes.
And you have to, it all depends on how you present yourself, to the customer at this point, and maybe bring in new customers. So, talk to me about the common mistakes, some of these marketers and some of these companies are making, right now.
I mean, it's an amazing topic. I think the first one, which is very critical to a lot of businesses, is the targeting is always too broad. There's this, should I say, scarcity mentality. There's a fear that if I niche down, businesses don't like to hear the word niche because it feels like you are cutting their pie, into a smaller piece, right? So they're like, we need to target as many people as possible. And ironically, that's the problem, is that the more specific you get about who your product is for, even if it seems like you are reducing the market, your market size, you are increasing your likelihood of actually getting those guys to buy. I'll give you an example. There are some luxury brands who are very good at this. You will never see them on a billboard because the people that buy a Rolls Royce, for example, do not make purchasing decisions from billboards. From billboards, right. You will never see a Rolls Royce ad.
Or maybe that's why I don't see them.
Yet, in the rooms where those who buy Rolls Royces roll, the Rolls Royce conversations, happen. Businesses need to narrow down, need to niche down. Who is your product for? The more specific you get, to the type of man or woman, to the age, to what they do, what they buy, where they go, the more specific you get, the better your chances of actually increasing revenue.
Right.
So a big problem is being too broad.
Because I see, in my mind, it's like a fishing net. You just throw it. And you try to get it as wide as you can.
And then you get prawns, you get crabs.
Right.
Meanwhile, you're actually fishing for what's a very good fish, tilapia.
Right.
Yeah. Fishermen know where to find tilapia. Go to where you can find tilapia. Don't just throw your net.
Right. All right, Roland, you can break it down more for me now. How do I go about this? Let's just imagine I'm a business now and I'm trying to get, that target, that I'm looking for. Is it about raising the spend, the marketing spend, or there's something more to it?
Well, it actually starts much earlier, at inception. What products are you wanting to get out there? Who do you want to get it for? What problem is it solving for people? So understanding that, and then understanding the journey that your customers go through, from awareness to interest to consideration to purchase to building that loyalty. There's a journey customers go through, and then companies, I don't think, pay that much attention to that journey. And at each touch point within that journey are sentiments that customers have. Understanding those sentiments will enable you really refine how you service your customers. So, and those sentiments come about as a result of either environmental factors or external or internal to the organization. So I'm trying to buy a Nike shoe. It starts out from, you create an awareness for me, someone was wearing it, I saw it during Super Bowl, I inquire about it, and then your marketing team, creating that from the top of the funnel down, you're creating that awareness for me to see it, and me deciding on wanting to buy it, how you nurture me through that process of trying to buy is so important. And understanding those sentiments, those that understand it well are able to keep, real good grasp of their market share and maintain it over time, and then also develop subsequent products to meet that demand over time.
And and looking at marketing, is it a kind of skill where we just continue with the old ways, like maybe it's billboards, it's whatever does it have that structure that you say, okay, this is where we go to?
Yes.
We go to the back, that's the style.
That's a good
or
question.
Are you trying to move with trends?
Oh, yes, so that's a good question, right? First, I will say, no, do not move with trends. There's always some trendy new channel, some trendy new thing, to do. Oh, there's a new social media channel, TikTok. Let's go to TikTok.
Right.
Meanwhile, your customers, we've said you are targeting too broadly, so you don't know your customers. Your customers may not be on TikTok. The person that buys what you are selling is probably not on TikTok. If you know who they are, then you can tell my customers are men between the ages of 45 and 65. Are they on TikTok? They're not. So talking about the marketing
mix. We see some daddies.
Oh, we see some
on TikTok.
We see some daddies.
To get on there.
But they don't make purchasing decisions from TikTok.
Right.
That's the thing. So do they make purchasing decisions from TikTok? Maybe not. Do they get entertainment from TikTok? Maybe yes. So talking about the marketing mix, I think there is no outdated channel. Businesses that will succeed need to have a healthy mix of both digital and traditional. They both still have a role to play. When I say traditional, I'm talking about TV, billboards, radio. They are still very relevant. Email marketing is not dead. People say, oh, who reads emails? There is a certain subset, a certain customer type who would only take a decision if email was a part of that journey, like, Roland said. Usually, there are different touch points before a customer makes a decision. It's not the first time I see an ad. Usually, I buy. So I would have seen a billboard when I was driving. And then I log on to Facebook, I see the same ad. Usually it might take 3 to 4, 5 touch points. Before one day I'm like, I need to buy a pair of shoes. I've been seeing one and then I go there. Right? So it's important that the brand is represented across relevant channels and touch points relevant to that customer type. Because if your targets are teenagers, for example, what are you doing email marketing for?
Right, and that reminds me of something. There's this saying that the phones and the phones are listening.
Yeah,
because we're talking about chicken now. For some reason, I see ads about chicken. So do you marketers have some kind of thing with the phones?
Yes, the phones listen to you. That's why when you say, hey Siri, Siri is able to answer you.
Right.
It's because it was listening in the first place. Because if it wasn't listening, then it wouldn't. So there is personalization. There's a lot of personalization now in the world of digital marketing. The ads you see on your social media are specific to you. Because Facebook, Meta, WhatsApp, all of those channels, they have gathered your conversations around the different touch points and tailored the experience you have to you. The ads I will see if I logged on to Instagram is different from the ads Roland will see. So yes, there is hyper-personalization.
Right.
Is the key to efficient marketing or effective marketing.
Based on where you go, the things you look at, the activities you perform in,
conversations you're having.
So it's just so important, like demographics and all that, looking at all that, your buying habits becomes how you're marketed to. So I think organizations that pay attention to that over time, you can see them to be consistent in being able to hit the point they want to hit. And the other bit I was going to mention earlier also was around, when you say you're casting your net,
right?
Then you have a fish finder. So we cheat in the U.S. where we can have a fish finder to let you know where there's a cluster of fish while you're fishing. So it's the same thing with marketing. That, there are certain types of people with disposable income that have that money to spend, and they have certain likes and dislikes. They live in certain neighborhoods, they have kids of certain ages, and you build a solution that is specific to them, So that would be the value of a fish finder as regards just casting the net. The fish finder takes you to where the fishes are.
Where the fish, the kind of fish you're looking for, at this point. All right, so looking at some of the, listed companies now, we see the likes of FBN Holdings, spending about 32 billion, on marketing and ads and all of that. Guinness, they spend about 20 billion. And for the data also shows the spend has been increasing since 2021, 2022, 2023. And I'm sure 2024 might even be higher, at this point. So these companies, they have the cash, they're ready to spend. But how should they tailor that spending in 2025?
So yes, marketing is getting more expensive. It's more expensive to buy attention on media now, generally, whether digital media or traditional media, it's more expensive. And of course, as with other, should I say, aspects of business or trade, cost is going in the direction of inflation, you know, and all of that. So that's natural, right? But even at that, because of the types of, the kind of, should I say, audience targeting, the kind of specificity you can get with digital marketing, it's more expensive now more than ever to advertise correctly on Meta, on some of the digital platforms, because of what they can deliver to you. So cost per click, customer acquisition cost is rising, right? Again, depending on the type of business and the average, say, order value or average spend, the more expensive your product is, or the more high value your product is, the higher the cost to acquire the customer that will buy that product. That is just it. What I will spend in advertising to attract...
So that's why when I look at some of those numbers, you know, for their results, I see, you know, the cost of sales.
Yes.
That's going up.
Correct. So for a lot of businesses, you know, marketing takes between 20 to 30% of the revenue generated. It's a subset. So when you look at unit economics of these businesses, you need to, if you are aiming for 100 million naira or dollars in revenue, you should budget 30 million for marketing to get that. Rule of thumb, right? Rule of thumb. And then, of course, you have operating expenses as well, which takes up a chunk of that, and then you have your profit margin. So depending on your type of business and the kind of channels, let's use a Rolls-Royce example. What it will cost to acquire a Rolls-Royce customer is way more than what it will cost to acquire, say, a more mass market brand. Because we are talking curated events, special lifestyle type golf outings.
Right.
All expenses paid trip. We just want to show you the factory. All expenses paid. We will come, airlift you, take you to the factory. Imagine what that experience will cost Rolls-Royce. But they know that if we're able to close this sale, our problems are over, right? So the more expensive, quote and unquote, your product is, or the more high value your product is, the more expensive it is. These businesses are spending that budget. First, because they are acquiring customers across different strata. You talked about FBN Holdings. You know, they have investment products, right, that only show up on certain types of media. It's not a mass market product. And then you have the mass market, you know, type accounts. You know, you come open your savings account, current accounts. The marketing budget also includes PR. Public relations is a very important part of marketing that a lot of businesses ignore. Public relations helps with brand building, top of mind awareness. A lot of, and I'll let Roland comment on this, a lot of organizational leaders, CEOs who don't have a marketing background, find it hard to understand why the marketing budget is that much. For what? Because they will say, so how much per dollar, how much am I getting? It doesn't always work like that. There's some marketing spend that, quote and unquote, you throw in the air for top of mind awareness so that you remain in people's minds. When MTN throws out a huge budget just to put lamp posts everywhere, pays huge influencers just so that we can all be singing their songs. GT Bank, for example, is good at it. 737, quick credit. There are songs that stay in our head.
Yeah, you can't get it out of your head.
They just stick. Top of mind awareness, very important. Right. And I'll let Roland comment a bit on it, because that's a conversation we have often with CEOs who don't understand why is this budget this way, you know? Why, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, as a business owner and from a marketing background, you know, so you would see, we would hire account executives, business development manager. You will rarely ever say marketing or sales because it means you have to put money on it. And a lot of times, and it doesn't even have to be the big organizations. In Nigeria, for example, we probably have more business around the small business enterprise level. And in that space as well, marketing is essential. So, like she said, 30%. I would even be fair to, I'll come down to maybe between 10 and 30%. Okay? So, but to the extent that a significant portion of what will hurt you is put aside to create an awareness for who you are. I need to show you that I'm here. I need to show you that I've created something that is for you, that is here. And part of that is consistent. So even when you put a product out there, the minute that is out there, the next product is coming up. So that consistency in being out there is important. And then talking about cost as well. Not only do you have to pay for the reach, when you think about social media, you pay for the reach. It's not just on being on Facebook or on Instagram. You are there, but then you're going to boost. And when you boost, you're boosting based on what type of audience, what type of reach, what type of number, you know. So all those matter as regards how much money you're spending. And then when you now get onto SEO, you know, it's about the keywords. You know, how much money do you want to spend to create that prevalence and that awareness of brand? So the more you spend, the more prevalent your words are, you know, and stuff like that. And then also when you're talking about PR or the influencers that you're hiring, you know, Davido won't come at the same price as Roland.
Yeah, true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but then your reach, you know, however way you want to be, would matter, you know, would be important as to how much money you're putting out there to promote yourself and to create that gap between you and your competitors. The other bit of it also that is so important now is the digital divide, the gap between us and everywhere else is so small now. The products are actually filtering in here now that you no longer have to just worry about competing with local products, but international products as well.
Right, true.
You know,
True.
so it's quite important that you're putting your money where your mouth is. So in that way, people can actually get to see you where you belong, and then you're able to attract the right types of people that you need for your business.
So I guess
right?
it's official, the spend will go up in
Absolutely.
2025.
Oh, absolutely. Things cost more.
Right.
And the reach you want also requires a little bit of a spend to get to where you need to get, where you need to get to.
Right. So definitely we'll be watching out, you know, and watching out for all those jingles that you try to stay in your head.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know, so you remember some of these brands. It was great having you both. Olajumoke Abiodun, CEO, Market Edge Advisory, and Roland Morishemi is the Director, Market Edge Advisory. Thank you both for coming out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.